I might have to stop by a doctor's office because my head hurts. It like changes the shape of your face. Like you don't have to go for plastic surgery and Botox. Just do like a launch mode in this thing, and it'll straighten your face out. It'll get rid of all the wrinkles.
Perfect.
It's like ironing your face, right?
I have to be honest, my wife hates it.
Really?
She hates the sound. She's
but it's a station wagon.
Why does it have to be so noisy?
Okay, let's do this. I just want to tell this story because the first time I saw this car, guys, like we were at this event. It's an Entrepreneur's event in Toronto at this hotel called the Shangri-La, which is a really high-end hotel. They've got all these great events. You know, they hold there in fantastic rooms. And Ray goes, "I got a new car. You got to come out and see it." And I think, all right. So we go outside.
I know what story you're going to tell now.
And we started up. It's making all that man sounds, right? Like reeks of testosterone. And out of nowhere, this attractive, what, like 35, 40 something year old, I don't know, maybe even older than 40, but she was hot. She just comes out of nowhere. She goes, "What kind of car is that? That sounds amazing." She could have been a professional though.
she could have been, now that you think about it, yeah, she could have been hired help.
Yeah, now that we think about it, she could have been a professional because there are a lot of them in the lobby here. But anyway,
she did get out of a Mercedes herself, though.
Yeah, but she like, what is that? What are you driving? What is all that noise about? You know, trying to get her head around it. And it's a station wagon. So that's the first time I've ever seen a woman pay any attention to any car, let alone a station wagon of all things. I was shocked. I was blown away.
Yeah, that was quite surprising. That was definitely surprising.
Yeah. Anyway, so your wife hates the car. Why? Is it too noisy?
Yeah, she's kind of a laid-back soul, and she's not really the kind of person that wants to have any attention brought on herself. And the car makes noise. It definitely makes noise when you're in it. It makes noise when you're around it. It's people hear it. It's a performance sound to me. I don't want the car because of the sound that it makes, or the attention that it gets. I want the performance. I'm all about the performance, but in a unique package.
Yeah, let's talk about that performance now, because this is okay. E63 AMG, bi-turbo V8, 5.4 liter, I think it is, right? 7-speed automatic. From the factory, it puts out 540, 560. It depends what year it is.
Yeah, so 580. The
580.
S model puts out 580.
This is the S model. Yeah. So the S model puts out a little bit more than the one from the factory. So Ray goes, "I need the station wagon because I got to carry shit around. I need a big car." Puts his bikes in it and things like that. And he says that's not enough power. So he wants to go and get it tuned. So he does. And he goes, "Hey man, you want to drive my car?" Woo! Fucking. I have to edit that out, man. We just. That was
just accelerating.
Okay. That was even red line. Back to the story. He goes, "Hey, do you want to drive my car? It's it's a new wagon. We'll do my story for entrepreneurs and cars. Ray has a business. We'll get into that in a second." I'm like, okay. Tells me it's a station wagon. I'm like, okay. Look at the stats on it. I'm like, okay. Sends me a text. He goes, "Yeah, it's got almost 700 horsepower now with the tune, and I put these wheels on it and a suspension and all that." Aside from that, the car's stock, intake and exhaust. It's really just a piggyback tune, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's stock, and this is just, I went dollars.
That actually hurt my head.
I went dollars for horsepower.
It actually hurt when I floored it.
I went dollars for horsepower is ultimately what I did.
Yeah,
I went dollars for horsepower, and to me, it made the most amount of sense to just do the tune. I would probably look at the turbos, but that's expensive to upgrade to go to bigger turbos, and you see a lot of guys doing other stuff. But for me, it made a lot of sense to get an extra 100 horsepower basically by just doing a tune.
What else can you tell me about the car? Like, why did you pick this? Why not a X5? Like we talked about an X5M before,
You know
right?
what? It's one of these things, and my wife knows I struggled for a long. I probably looked for what car I wanted to buy for a long time, and even the X5, which I was having a few problems with prior to. I did a lot of work to make it look different. I don't want an X5 that's going to look like every other X5 in the street.
Yeah.
And I was looking for a car that was different, but still something I could drive every day that was still unique. And when I started looking at this particular AMG specifically, I didn't want an AMG that was just a regular sedan or a regular coupe. I wanted something that fit that unique mark. This particular car, there was only 5 of them for sale in Canada. That to me is unique.
There's I've checked the other day, so I know this. There's 9 Lamborghini Murcielagos for sale.
Yeah.
So this is a very, very low production car. Do you know how many of these that they've made? Actually, you know what? Every single test that I looked at when I looked this up, it was all a sedan model, no wagons.
Yeah.
And you know what? Wagon guys are fastidious about fast wagons too.
So the uniqueness of the Canadian one specifically is the European model is 2-wheel drive.
Just rear drive.
Just rear-wheel drive.
And this is all-wheel drive.
This is all-wheel drive.
I guess Mercedes thinks that
North America
Canada
wants all-wheel drive.
Can't handle the rear drive.
Canada wants all-wheel drive. So it's ridiculous from a traction standpoint when you hook up and you just felt a little bit of it there. There's no wasted power. It all goes, and the brakes are ridiculous on it.
Are they carbon ceramics or steel?
No, they're not. So they're steel. Carbon ceramic I was advised not to because I tracked the car too, right? So it'd be too expensive to change your pads and your rotors on carbon ceramic. So running business software as a service for trucking logistics-based companies. We go after a very specific niche market of entry-level users. The biggest competitor to us is Microsoft Excel, people that are using these big elaborate Excel spreadsheets to manage their business versus using any kind of automated software. We'll get into launch mode here. Yeah, there's launch mode. The sound kind of kicks up there a little bit.
Carry on.
So, recurring revenue model, which is awesome. Absolutely love that. I'd highly suggest anybody get in the recurring revenue side of things. It's so much stress off your life. Yeah, that's kind of who we are. We built our business up starting in 2007 with a partner in the U.S. To where we are right now.
So, question for you. What business lesson did you have to learn the hard way, and what can you teach others from that lesson?
Easy one I learned the hard way. You know, I'm not a highly educated person straight from high school to being self-employed. Supply and demand. As simple as it sounds, my very first massive business failure was I was trying to push a product into a market that had tons of supply and no demand.
Got it.
And when I suddenly realized how to discover whether your product had a demand in the marketplace, the next product we built we were hugely successful with because we realized there was a demand in the market for what we were building.
I'm going to take you back to when you were a little boy. What did you want to be when you were growing up?
A cop.
Why a cop?
You know, there's something.
Guns, right?
Yeah, there's something with the uniform. There's something with, you know, the power associated with being a cop. But I mean, as I grew up and started to learn a little bit more about what a cop's life was really like, and you know, I didn't know a lot of cops that were.
Can you guys hear that noise going at the back? Every time I'm driving in automatic mode, and it's like, holy crap, man!
Burping on the downshift.
Yeah. Anyway, cops. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just didn't like a lot of the personalities of what the cops that I did know or get to know. It wasn't something that enthused me, and I don't like getting up early in the morning, so that wouldn't have worked well for me either.
So what's your biggest business regret, and what did you learn from it?
Oh, my biggest business regret.
Hindsight's always 20/20, right?
Yeah. You know, it's kind of crazy. I you know, didn't finish high school.
Really?
And I'm not very educated, so I think if I had continued on through school a little bit deeper, similar to maybe what my son's doing at business school at Laurier right now, and I got a stronger base in accounting, I think I probably would have made a few less mistakes along the way by being a little bit more fiscally responsible when it came to dealing with money.
We're gonna have some fun here. Keep telling the story.
She sticks. She sticks. So that was a big concern for me, was not having the accounting background and having to rely on other people to make some accounting decisions for me.
Yeah.
Without having the basis and the background on my own to make those decisions.
Wow, this is an incredible car. I never thought a station wagon would go around a corner like that.
No, it sticks.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of stickiness to it.
When things seem darkest for you as an entrepreneur, where did you go for that light?
You know, it's really interesting. It's almost a bit of an emotional story for me, but I'm a dreamer.
Yeah.
And I always, you know, I'm not ashamed to say I like tangible things. I love cars like this. I like nice houses. I like, you know, nice watches. I would go to a place where I would dream. And when I was really struggling back in the early 2000s, my business was north of where we are now. And I would have to drive past a subdivision on my way home. I would drive into that subdivision, and this was a subdivision of estate homes, where I'd look at the houses, look at the beautiful manicured lawns, the nice cars, and I would sit and kind of imagine myself living in this particular subdivision. And it's an emotional story for me because last year, we were finally able to buy a house in that subdivision.
Nice.
and it was like a big balloon popped at that particular moment in time.
You know what the interesting thing about that story is? That's a common story that a lot of entrepreneurs tell. I know a guy that calls it his smell the leather story. And you know, when he was broke and wasn't doing anything in his life and his business, he figured, well, I need inspiration, so he would go to the Rolls-Royce dealership and sit in the car and smell the leather. If you've ever smelled the Rolls-Royce interior, it's got a very distinctive, you know, manly, leathery smell. And it's really just that, like, inspiration, right? Okay, so let's just do a quick walk around this thing, Ray. So this is a AMG S model, Renntech tuned, full-on wagon. Cosmetically, you've changed wheels and suspension?
Yeah, so Volson wheels, 20-inch wheels, 9.5 in the back is all we could fit for a width standpoint.
And they're slotted.
Yeah, slotted
and drilled, cross-drilled, yeah. Those are nice.
Yeah, super sticky rotors, just phenomenal.
What's the size of those wheels?
These are 20s, 29.5s.
Yeah.
And 28.5 in the front.
Just gonna step back a little bit to get the whole car. So that's the machine. It's a big car. I guess for size perspective, that's a Hyundai Elantra or Sonata. You know, standard family compact sedan. And this thing goes around corners like it's on rails. Painted calipers. Cosmetically, it's fully blacked out, eh?
Fully blacked out. Everything's blacked out right across.
Yeah.
Roof racks are blacked out on it. Clear bra on the front. 3M clear bra on the front.
Beautiful car. Let's talk about books and inspiration. Like, what's a business book that's really moved the needle for you?
This is something, you know, a lot of people would be shocked at. I hate reading business books.
Do you listen to them?
I rarely listen to business books. So the interesting part about it is, you know, I get a lot of my inspiration from stories, doing things like listening to what Richard does with a lot of the entrepreneurs and watching a lot of stuff online. But a business book, my wife calls them travelers. Because when I actually go away, I always have the best intentions of taking these books with me, and then reading these books, and she knows I never open them. So she calls, which travelers are you taking? She'll say to me. And I never read them, but I love watching stuff online, reading just different inspirational stuff online. Yeah, hearing stories from other entrepreneurs, it's more real to me than a book.
Learning from experience.
Learning from experience, absolutely.
If there's anything that you could do differently, like if you could rewind the clock 10, 15 years, let's say, what would you do differently this time around?
You know, that's a great question. I've been asked that before, and it's crazy to say that there's not a lot that I would have done differently other than to probably educate myself a little bit more on my areas of weakness, where I feel that I was weak from, you know, from a finance side. I feel like I'm strong as most entrepreneurs are from a sales and marketing side, but the finance side and really understanding the numbers within my business it's just been a common theme for me, where I felt that I've been weak. You know, I put myself in positions where I've had problems with Canada Revenue Agency because I wasn't as diligent and probably not as educated as I should have been with the numbers, and I think that created a lot of stress in my life. Was just dealing with the CRA, dealing with tax issues, dealing with personal tax liability issues. It's just been, it creates so much stress.
Talk to me about the most unpleasant job you've ever had to do.
Midnight move out.
Oh, you had to do a midnight move out.
Do a midnight move
Quickly
out.
tell me that story.
We had a previous business that was, it just wasn't going to work. It wasn't going to happen. It was a business just prior to this one here, and we were out of money. We were just flat out of money, and we had some assets that we had to get out of the office, and we ended up going to the office literally at, you know, 12:30, 1 o'clock, grabbing anything of value that we felt that we needed to have, and did a midnight move out. Now, I'm a big karma guy. Despite the fact that we did the midnight move out and got out of the premises, we still looked after all the debt that we had associated with that. So we went back to the landlord, paid for all the outstanding debt that we had, to make sure that there was nothing that was going to come back and haunt us in the future.
Got it. So, all right, let's take this bad boy for a drive. We've got a couple of surprises for you. Ray wants me to do something with this that he's never done with the car. Let's hop in it and do that.
Press gas.
Just
as required,
and then let go of the brake.
Yeah, so you're gonna punch it like you're doing a brake stand, I think.
And do I have to shift, or does it shift itself?
You are in. No, I'm gonna guess it's gonna shift itself. I've never done this before, so we're gonna see what this does.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Okay. It has been done.
So, Richard, are you? I know you're a German fan. I know you're a BMW fan.
Yes, yes.
Have you driven an AMG before?
I have not. Something as insane as this.
Excellent. Have we converted you?
I don't know, man. I'm pretty impressed, I gotta say. If I wanted to move things around very quickly, yeah.
Do we need to stop at Costco first?
No, I might have to stop by a doctor's office. I don't know, because my head hurts. It like changes the shape of your face. Like you don't have to go for plastic surgery and Botox. Just do like a launch mode in this thing, and it'll straighten your face out. It'll get rid of all the wrinkles.
Perfect.
It's like ironing your face, right?
That's perfect.